Yeah, students are always asking me, was there a time that I thought about quitting? I'd love to do it differently. I really want to do it differently. I have thought about quitting. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget, I think one of the hardest times of my entire career was I was already out of residency. I was in my fellowship and I was in Seattle and I had just failed my anesthesia boards by one question, which is, retrospectively, I'm thinking that really it shouldn't have been a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but you can take it again. It's not like somebody got injured. It was very difficult for me because I had gotten really good grades in med school and did really well on the board exams. And I didn't approach the anesthesia board exam with, I wasn't super serious about it. I was kind of like, okay, I can get by. So, that was pretty rough. It was like an existential crisis because it really felt like I was a failure, as opposed to making a mistake.
And you want to talk about imposter syndrome and being stressed about grades, that stuff leads somewhere. It eventually catches up to you. I was so hardcore, gotta be perfect, that it crushed me. And I was sitting down with my mentor at Seattle Children's, and I said, I'm a failure. He's like, what are you talking about? You made a mistake. And I'm like, no, I failed. And he's like, no, you made a mistake. And I'm like, I couldn't see the difference.
I had always wished that, I can see now how that was not really a growth mindset. I wish I had read Carol Dweck's book, The Growth Mindset, because you approach failure differently. Anyway, it was around that time that I just felt like I really struggled, and I really felt like I wanted to. It was maybe I just wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to quit. I wanted to get out of anesthesia. I wanted to do surgery. I was just dreaming and wishing about doing something else. And of course, once you get really that deep into it and you're in that much debt, it's actually really hard to quit. So, but I did. I wanted to, and I think the thing that really helped. There was a couple things that really helped me was just seeing a therapist and kind of talking some of this stuff out. That really helped, and continuing to just take care of patients and I just really worked on myself. I cleaned up my diet, I exercised a lot, and I really tried to adopt a very positive mindset. It was very easy for me to just get really negative, and it takes a while. It took a while. Not long after that, I was working my first attending job, and this is another time where I was kind of I really wanted to quit. In fact, I actually did quit that job. I worked it for about a year. But this is the interesting thing about, I think, my journey was after all the hard work and all the money invested, the time sacrificed, when I finally got to that first attending job, making attending salary, I wasn't really that happy. I just wasn't really that excited about the work that I was doing, and I just remember feeling like, why did I do all this? I enjoyed medical school. I loved medical school, and for me it was, I couldn't get back to what that feeling was, where it was about the learning and really learning, really progressing, really trying to solve people's problems. It didn't feel like that in my first attending job. It really felt like I was a widget in a machine. And I'm not saying that it's not a privilege or I'm not grateful to be able to do patient care, or at least at that time, but there was something fundamentally wrong, I think, about how, like, what I experienced as being an attending pediatric anesthesiologist. So what I did was, and I think this is, one of the things that I do when I get in, and I have periodically gotten into these phases where, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this, but you just feel like, man, it's just something's not working with the job, and I don't want to do this, or I don't want to be here. And it's not to say that I don't want to take care of patients, but it's something about the system. So I quit that job, and I had saved up some money, and I joined Doctors Without Borders. And that was probably one of the best things that I ever did.
Yeah.